Baten Kaitos Origins is a turn-based RPG on the Nintendo GameCube and is actually a prequel to Baten Kaitos Eternal Wings in the Lost Ocean. Both of these games are incredibly overlooked, and it's a shame because they're both superb games. But the real question is this: is it better than the original? Well, watch the review to find out. Origins takes place 20 years before its predecessor and stars a new protagonist, Sagi. Sagi is a young man that's a member of a military branch called the Dark Service. He joined the army to be paid a certain wage so that he could help put food on the table back home. At the beginning of the game, Sagi's first mission as a member of the Dark Service is to assassinate the Emperor, and he is actually assigned to lead the assassination, due to him being a spiritor. Like Callus, the first game's protagonist, Sagi has a guardian angel of sorts that gives him advice and guidance from time to time, and you, the player, actually are the spirit. Sagi will look directly at the screen from time to time and ask you questions about what to do next, what your opinion is of the current situation, and anything in between. When Sagi does this, you are given two choices. If you pick one of the choices that Sagi agrees with, it will help you in combat. However, this whole mechanic felt gimmicky in my opinion, and it's really only a matter of picking the right answer, as choosing the other dialogue choices will only hurt you in the end. I think it would have been cool if maybe, for example, there was an affinity meter and that there were more than two choices of dialogue and it could affect gameplay in different ways. Vague, I know, but I'm just kind of shouting out random ideas at this point. Still, you really do start to feel that you, the player, have a really strong connection and attachment to Sagi. Just like its predecessor, the game's world actually takes place in multiple islands that float in the sky. If you were wondering why the islands were floating in the sky in the first place, Origins will give you your answer, thanks to its dual storytelling. In the main story, Sagi's attempt at assassinating the Emperor only leads to a shocking discovery. The Emperor was already killed when he entered his chamber, and the Dark Service soldiers followed Sagi and suspected Sagi of murder. Sagi seems to have been framed, and he and his weird best friend puppet thing Gilo make a run for it and encounter an even deadlier foe, an Afterling. Going into detail about these monsters would only spoil one of the many surprises that this game has to offer. However, this ties into what I was saying before about dual storytelling. Whenever Sagi and his friends defeat an Afterling, Sagi passes out and wakes up in what seems to be an ancient world, only it's not. It's the same world 1,000 years in the past when the islands were still on the sea. Here he meets new people. However, they seem to know who he is and constantly refer to him as Marno. In this world, you'll learn all kinds of things, including the history of Malpertio. What really surprised me was that the pacing of both of these stories wasn't hurt because of the constant shift between them. There are so many twists and turns that I can't even count, most of which I didn't see coming at all. The characters themselves are absolutely incredible. There are actually only 3 playable characters in the game, and while some may be put off by this, I actually liked it because it allowed each character much more screen time, and the chemistry between Sagi, Gilo, and the rambunctious Milliard, aka Millie, felt perfect. Sagi and Gilo were best friends, and Gilo is very loyal to Sagi, while Gilo and Millie are always bickering and arguing, with Sagi being the peacekeeper between the two. The memorable characters are also helped by an extremely strong supporting cast, all of which I genuinely cared for. Considering the fact that this game takes 20 years before the first game, you'll see many familiar faces from the original, such as Gibari, King Latikon, Sabina, Geldablame, and even Giacomo, albeit 20 years younger. Oh, and you also get to hear Giacomo's crazy battle theme again too. The story is almost completely free of cliche. The only one that comes to mind is that Gilo has amnesia, but this is rarely ever brought up, and it's handled in a well-told manner, without Gilo not knowing any common knowledge and complaining about how much he wants his memories back. I personally felt that the characters in this game felt way more developed than in the first game, with the overall story also being much stronger as well. I guess my biggest complaint with this story would be the ending. I felt that it was very anticlimactic. However, the post-ending credits did a great job of leading into the first game, but the ending itself felt lackluster, and I was pretty disappointed with that. That aside, though, I loved the story. It was great. One of my favorites of all time, and I'm not even exaggerating. It was an honor to experience, and it's no doubt hands down the strongest part of this game. The game looks virtually identical to its predecessor. Character models look the same, animate in the same way, towns and dungeons are recycled from the first game, which makes sense. However, that's not to say that nothing has changed. The menus are a lot more pleasing on the eye and have much more personality, and the special effects during battle are much improved. But now, let's talk about the music. Wow, the music of Baten Kaitos Origins. It's simply superb. This is, without a doubt, Sakura's best soundtrack to date. There are just no words to describe it. You just have to hear it for yourself. Now that you heard how amazing that was, let's move on. Something that really surprised me was that a lot of the music from the first game wasn't recycled. Most of the towns that you visit have the same songs remixed, but most, if not all of the songs from revisited dungeons have completely new tracks, so Sakuraba wasn't lazy here. But the biggest improvement lies in the game's voice acting. It is leaps and bounds better. The voices of the first game made me want to rip my ears off, and there were no redeeming qualities with the voices of the original because of how abysmal they were. I really have almost no complaints with the voice acting in this game. In fact, there are actually a few big-name voice actors here, including Johnny Young Bosch, Yuri Lowenthal, Crispin Freeman, Liam O'Brien. Overall, the game's visuals and sound are top-notch.
You're good. That's fine. You may have won the day, but I assure you I'll be back to settle the score. Sagi! Your name is marked!
The gameplay is yet another area where the game shines. This game also utilizes the concept of cards, or magnets as they call it. The people of the world of Baten Kaitos use these magnets to capture the essence of objects to carry around. For example, if you're carrying a giant sword, rather than stuffing it into your seemingly bottomless bag of crap, you capture the essence of said sword and you can call the sword forth with the magnets. This also plays an important role in battle, as all of your weapons, armor items, and special attacks come in the form of these magnets. The battle system in this game is actually really quite different from the first one. Rather than using individual weapons as your means of standard attacks, you're now given 3 types of generic normal attacks represented by, well, numbers 1 to 3. These attack cards can be used in succession to get a combo rolling, but can only be used in ascending order. So say you started your combo off with a 2 card, you can't follow it up with a 1 card. Weapons and armor can be used right before the start of a combo to add additional attack power to your weapons or for defense against certain attacks. However, only one can be used at a time. Using a weapon card while you're wearing armor will replace it. Special attacks are handled differently as well. A new MP meter, or Magnus points, has been added and dictates the MP required to pull off a special move. Each special attack card has a Roman numeral in it that shows how much MP is required to use. A card with the Roman numeral 1 will consume 1 MP and so on. Your MP is shared by the entire party and increases as you use generic normal attacks. The MP meter can reach up to level 5, so you can pull off as many moves in one combo as you want so long as you have the MP required. Similar to past Final Fantasy games, however, the game actually utilizes an active time battle system where every character and enemy has to have a bar fill up before they can take an action, and enemies will attack you even if you're not doing anything. Another change from the first is that the whole party actually shares one deck rather than the 3 of them having their own separate decks. Something that I absolutely could not stand about the first game was the act of micromanaging each individual deck for the 6 main characters. The fact that they changed this really put a smile on my face, as editing your deck is as simple as, well, anything that's really simple that you could think of. However, this game still has one looming curse: the luck factor. Yes, I know that's inevitable for any type of card game. However, Origins made an attempt to remedy this: the discard button. During battle, with a press of the B button, you can toss cards that aren't needed or just can't be used by that character, and another card will be drawn in its stead. The stronger your relationship is with Sagi, the more likely you'll be able to draw a card that's useful to the current situation. But this is really just a band-aid. That doesn't change the fact that there will be numerous times where you'll be taking hits simply because you're tossing useless cards waiting for something good to come up. Something that I really liked about this game's combat was how cinematic it was. The camera rarely ever stays in one spot, and every battle felt like it was one big cutscene in my opinion. This made the battles very flashy and great to look at, especially considering how amazing the special effects are for all of your attacks. Outside of battle, you can visit the church at certain save points. Unlike the original game, however, you no longer have to rack up experience points and level up manually at the church. You now level up like a traditional RPG, gain a certain amount of experience, level up, thank Christ. After battles, you will receive a pool of points called TP, or Technical Points. When you gain a certain amount of TP, you can visit the church, level up your deck class, which increases the amount of cards that you can have in your deck, how many cards you can have in your hand, and how many you can discard before ending your turn. The game also has a wealth of content. There are, I believe, 100 side quests in the game, a coliseum, and a town called Sedna that you can rebuild that's made entirely of clay with furniture that talks to you. Yeah, they must have taken an acid trip when they came up with that. There's just so much to do, and there will never be a point in the game where you won't have at least a few side quests. Top that off with a story that lasts at least 45 hours, spanning across 2 discs. The gameplay is loads of fun, and amazingly, you will never be bored. However, I would be remiss if I didn't mention one fatal game-breaking flaw: the disk swap. Listen to me and listen to me carefully. When the game asks you to save before the disk swap, save to another file. This horrible game design has you fight an extremely hard boss first thing without giving you a chance to grind. So if you get to the second disc underleveled, you are screwed. Gotta start all the way from the beginning. Sorry, Charlie, tough luck. Write this shit down. Like, right now. Like, pause this video, get a pencil and paper, and write it the hell down. This is an unacceptable choice of game design. And why the playtesters thought that this was a good idea, I'll never know. Baten Kaitos Origins is, in my opinion, the best game on the GameCube. Yes, better than Tales of Symphonia. And it is one of my absolute favorite games of all time. The story is AAA, absolutely superb. Despite that shitty ending, the characters and even the villains are compelling and memorable. The audio is great, it's fun to play. I mean, the game just does so little wrong. If you love the first game, then you will adore this game. It is, in my opinion, a much better game in literally every regard, and this is coming from a really big fan of the original game. Like I said before though, my only real complaints with the game are the ending and that awful disc swapping flaw. So, unfortunately, I can't give it a perfect score, but I will give it a 9.7 out of 10. My friends, dust off those GameCubes and give it one last ride by playing this amazing game. This has been Swordfish. Take care, everyone.
Good to see everybody safe.
Where are we?
Hey, hold on. This is the Hollow Jungle. Oh no, this is bad. Really, really bad.
What's wrong, Milliard? Is it bad?
Shut up, dingbat!
Seriously, what's wrong, Millie? Is this place dangerous or something?
They say that even the most seasoned travelers get lost in this jungle. You need this rock called the Landmark Stone that's been bewitched by the headmaster of the School of Magic. Otherwise you can never escape.
I get it. That is bad.
How can you be so calm, dummy? Go ahead, kick back while you rot to death. But I'm not ready to turn into hollow compost. You got me?
Okay, why don't we calm down a little? I'm sure there's a way out.
Oh no, was that a hollow bird? We can't let it find us or else!
I think it found us. But look, it's carrying young. Doesn't that make it a friendly bird?
Why do I bother getting mad? The hollow bird carries its young when it goes hunting for food.
Oh,